5 to 10% upside from this levels before things kind of level out and you know, and we can see more downside from there. For me, and looking at it, the data is really the most important thing. We had durable good orders come out at the bottom of the hour a few minutes ago, and they were not they weren't bad. They were good. They came in higher than expected. Again, interesting in seeing this battle of data and the Fed as far as how they're going to balance what they're doing. The better the data continues to come in, the more that the Fed can actually justify some of the moves as far as increasing rates, even though towards the end of last week, the rally was based on, depending on the headline that you read, the thought that they would be easing back on rates by the end of the year. So we'll see as we work into that. U.S. is also working on a free trade deal with Taiwan. That could be good. That could also probably piss off China, but that'll be fun. EU and Iran are trying to focus on getting that nuke deal done, or at least closer to the table to where they can get something inked and official. Again, all of these headlines are coming on the sidelines of the G7. Rarely do we get massive moves based off of the G7 activity in the week of the G7. So rolling through this weekend, a couple of days, headlines are going to be very minimal because I don't think anybody is trying to piss in anybody's Cheerios with all the world leaders basically sitting in the same location. I expect things to be relatively cool from that standpoint. Outside of that, Ender, are you present?
Good morning. I am.
Oh, I get a good morning from the Bender. Yes, good morning to you too, friend.
Don't I always say good morning?
I don't know. It feels like a weird Monday, man. It's like they're not giving us any headlines to make us shit our pants, nor are they giving us any headlines to make us feel all happy and comfortable. Weird.
Cool. Trade the chart then.
Oh, that too. Well, the chart's kind of, you see where it's at. You're going to tell us where it's at. Yeah, so where's it at?
We're at 39.21. That's where it's at. Okay, so at 39.21, what sticks out to me immediately is that we are right at the midpoint of the Bollinger Bands on ES on the daily. So this would be a spot if they decide, okay, that's enough for now. I could see it rejecting that midpoint. Alternatively, if they are able to, pop above that, then we could see, a push back up towards the upper band. That's a long ways away. But I'll be keeping a close eye on that. We have just below, we have 39.16, which is the 20 MA on the 60-minute. And then we have obviously 3900. If that doesn't hold, we get 3880, and then 3851 is the 50 MA on the 60-minute. So that's just below. As far as what's above, 3929 is the 10 MA. So right now we're sitting between the 10 and the 20. So that's the 10 MA on the 60-minute. Above that, you got 3945, which is the 20 MA on the daily on ES. If we get through 3945, we got 3975 and then 4016. But right now, like I said, I'm kind of watching the midpoint of the Bollinger Bands on the daily. We're just below that. So in a downtrend, which I know the last couple of days have been, very nicely green. We've made nice moves up, but it's not uncommon in a downward move for us to bounce and then reject at the midpoint there. So that's what I'll be paying attention to.
Then that kind of makes sense. So we did fill that gap on Friday. We have another one above. It's like everything that you're saying makes a lot of sense, at least based on what I was seeing last week coming into this week, as far as at least from a flow standpoint, from a chart standpoint, in a lot of ways a narrative standpoint, that we could get up to this level, get that gap fill, and then I think my exact words were all bets are off at that point, even with there being another gap up above, just because we currently don't have flow, in my opinion, that supports a move higher. It currently is really, really not there. We're not getting those Apple strikes coming in hot. Amazon is okay, but Amazon has its own problems. We're just not. We got a little bit of action coming back into semis, which maybe they can go ahead and get the push. Maybe the banks wake up a little bit and make a move, and build something out here. But it's like from an overall flow standpoint, it's very, very spotty as far as, getting all bulled up. The only thing that I will say is that whale that continues to, throw out massive plays. He's gotten rolled the past few times, and he keeps on rolling his strikes higher on all of these moves. So the last several, he's moved his strikes higher, and we've moved higher within the market. Did it again on Friday after hours. So these are the types of things that when you're looking at, it's like I can't necessarily find the flow that will give us a massive push higher unless it comes in today or this week. And at the same time, with the flow, these downside Armageddon hits, number one, they haven't been paying out the past week or so. And two, it's very, very, they're still there. Which means that there's still a lot of consternation, a lot of uncertainty, a lot of, if nothing else, massive hedging. So without upside targets in a real fashion, it becomes very, very difficult for me to feel comfortable about saying, hey, no, let's just completely focus on the upside, when we have had a nice little run over the last few days. And the reality is nothing from a narrative standpoint has changed. Your chart kind of says that in a lot of ways, which is a little bit aggravating, to be honest with you.
Well, not that I wanted to be the source of your aggravation, but that's what we've got. I think paying attention to that 20 MA on the daily is worthwhile. Again, that's 39.45. So I think if we can pop that, we go test. I think there's a good chance we'll test 39.75 if we can get over that 39.45.
Over that, huh? Yeah. All right.
And if not, if we continue to reject this midpoint, even if they break through it a little bit and then reject their 39.45-ish, 39.50 right in there, and start pulling back, if it looks weak and the internals are lining up for a bigger pullback, 38.51 is the 50 MA on the 60 minute. So that's where, now it's moved up. It's let's see, take a look. 38.54. So if we really do, get that pull, you would expect to see them pull it below the 20 MA on the 60 minute, 39.18. And if it gets below that, I would expect that there's a good chance they'll go test the 50, which is 38.54.
Makes sense. So I'm sitting here looking at your little pictures.
Yeah.
It's you can actually see a difference.
Mm-hmm.
You can actually see an impact. So how much more of this do you have to whack?
A lot, but we're pretty close to the point that we have cleared what we need to clear to get the well guy in. to dig the well, and to get the dirt guy in who's going to lay a base and gravel so that we've got a path. And you'd have to see the other pictures on kind of where stuff's going, but yeah, it's I want to clear it all, but it's at the point where I can do what I need to do for the next probably 3 months without really clearing a whole lot more. And then we go from there.
Yeah, then you go from there.
Yeah.
All right. You got anything else for us?
Nope, that's it.
Right. Stockington, what you got, dude?
Hello. Yeah, some good setups going into today. Let's see. So, Meta is going to be really the big focus for me. I don't know what's going on with Meta, but someone on the dark pool lands wants this 170.16. I don't know. We don't know buy or sell, but they have a lot of money on that line right now. They're hitting it there Friday. Friday after market close was 3.1 billion on 171.6 for Meta, and then I just pulling up the dark pool today. They continue to hit it right there. So I was going to take Meta long if it breaks above 170.9. And then if it does give up this dark pool, which for the moment it's hanging out just above, I had my puts triggered down at 168.35, but 170.16 is the big line on Meta. TSM, that was a nice trade from Friday. They hit it again with some dark pool, another 20% daily volume, 158 million at 85.92. We're a little above that. I'll be watching. I was going to go long above 86.1, so we're also a little bit above that. So TSM could be a good watch for continuation to the upside. Netflix also got a pretty good dark pool. They hit 190.85. So I'm going to watch if it holds that. And then there's another dark pool line above 192.77. I've got AMD on the list. They also hit that one with dark pool at 87.08 on Friday. So I'm watching to see if it can hold this 87.50. It's hanging out right there. That could be a trade to the upside. And if it gives up this dark pool, then I had a line below 86.4. And that'll be it for the list. And then I put my SPY chart in there, resistance becomes support kind of thing. So the big dark pool line for SPY was 389.95. So I put the charts in the room here, and that'll be kind of the levels I'll be watching.
All right. So we just had did you see the big one that just came in on TME, 10 cent?
I'm pulling that up now. Wow.
35% average daily volume.
Yeah, not one I trade a ton, but that's definitely interesting volume.
Yeah, apparently they're working on some type of a deal with auto manufacturers as far as integrating stuff, type of integration. I don't know. Baba had a decent one also this morning, 100 million that rolled through. So that'll be interesting as far as some of these Chinese tickers. So, okay, tell me this, bud. You went through a couple of things. If there's one thing that you were absolutely eyes peeled to coming into open, would it be Facebook?
Yes, 100%. That much
Facebook
money.
is, yeah.
Yep, that's going to be my big focus. I didn't catch that. Charlie had put out a flow play. I missed that one. That was, I believe, the 175s out to the end of July 25th strike. But I could be wrong. I missed it. But yes, this 170.16 line on Meta, there's enough money there to be, top focus for sure.
We're basically trading right on that line.
Mm-hmm. And then I can put another chart in here. Friday's price action basically just created a little uptrend line that it is now sitting on that as well. So this will be definitely a good watch.
All right, so we'll be watching Meta. So you mentioned that, and you mentioned a couple of semis also.
Yeah, that kind of tied in TSM. You mentioned your potential trade agreement with Taiwan, so that's definitely an interesting one. And just I like the technical setup. And then of course AMD is just always a good one to keep on watch.
AMD had one this morning, 42 million, not massive. Micron had one, as did Marvell, as far as dark pools this morning. So it's like in a lot of ways, it's like with those guys being as far off, it's like, I don't want to say off their highs, but off to their levels of respectability. Um, it's like there is some move and some action. I don't think we've seen near the short covering that we could see when it comes to semis specifically.
Yeah, we saw some decent flow on AMD last week with closing puts and buying some calls out to August. So
Mhm. All right. Anything else? Anybody else have any questions within the room? Any suggestions as far as tickers we should take a look at before we sign off and get ready for the open? AMD and Roblox. Yeah, Roblox had a dark pool also. That one's really interesting there, son, how it continues to get that move to the ups. Um, Very curious. Okay, so we have another player who's looking at Meta, also looking at Roku, Crowd, and Team. Okay. All right, let's keep our eyes peeled for that. Look, for me, I need to see more upside targets to get really, really excited about anything, or put flow that's coming in. Also getting a note on Chewy coming in to keep an eye on Chewy. Um, just, I think flow is very, very important, especially when headlines aren't necessarily going to give us any type of a tip or a lead. Headlines are extraordinarily boring from a market standpoint. Ethically, obviously there's headlines, but from a market standpoint, there's just nothing there. There's nothing there to get overly excited or anxious about either way. So, with that being said, this is going to be a flow kind of day for me. I'm going to be watching the flow, let it kind of tell me what the story is. That's all I got. Ben, you have anything else?
No, sir.
Sir? All right, buddy. Are you with us today?
Yeah, I'll be here, I think, at least until. So actually, I do have one other thing. We should probably be watching Cat because their shit breaks all the time, and they got to be selling just a ton of parts. I'm broke down again today. It actually been broke down since Saturday morning. And I have somebody that's got to come out and fix it. I don't know when they're going to be out. They're not even open yet. I haven't talked to them. So outside of that, yeah.
To be fair, Cat's gotten its ass blistered since you started doing your work. Look at that chart. It's like it's gotten absolutely blistered to the downside. It's been selling since it hit that 230-ish level, which is basically a double top on the daily. It double top there around 230-ish, and it's been selling since April. Just straight sell.
Lots of stuff.
Deer has also been beat up pretty good too. If you've been watching, I don't know, are you watching some of these deals like on like the Home Depot and Tractor Supply and some of that kind of stuff? It's like some of this equipment is coming in really, really cheap. Just like, oh wow, that's really cheap. You notice that at all?
No.
Yeah, no. Very, very curious in a lot of ways there. And I think that it's interesting that you brought up cat because cat flow has been pretty caustic the last couple of weeks, the downside. And it begs the question, it's like cat's always one of those things that does well in a recovery mode from an economic standpoint. And if they're getting plastered and people are selling out of it, it really begs the question as far as what's next. So cat flow is important, just like Visa and MasterCard are important for different reasons. So, all right, I'm going to sign off. We've got about 18 minutes until open. Binda, we're so excited to have you around today. We don't know what to do. expect me to ask you a lot of questions that are absolutely absurd and ridiculous. Sound good and fun?
If it doesn't, does it change anything?
No, does not.
Okay.
Does not.
Okay.
All right, folks. Thanks for listening. We'll be back soon.